on the coronavirus now. The ONS has just released the latest data on COVID-19 deaths in England and Wales in the week leading up to January the 15th. Let's bring in our economics editor, Ed Conway, who's been going through this. Ed, what are we learning from the Office for National Statistics?
Well, I mean, the numbers throughout on this have been thoroughly depressing, and I'm afraid, it's another week of depressing news in terms of deaths. What the ONS does is they look at the number of deaths across England and Wales. They also correlate numbers coming from Scotland as well and from Northern Ireland. And it is a slightly different measure of people who have died of COVID-19 to the one that we get from the government on their dashboard each day. But by some people's yardsticks, this is the more comprehensive measure. And according to this ONS measure, we have now surpassed 100,000 deaths in the UK from COVID-19. They say it's up to about 107,000, close to 108,000 as of the 15th of January. And that number expected to mount further. So 107, 108,000 deaths from COVID-19. It is one of those moments, none of us wanted to report. It is thoroughly depressing, but nonetheless, that is what the figures are suggesting. And it's worth just underlining, there are various different ways of measuring this. We will later on this afternoon get numbers from Department for Health and Social Care of what they see as their death toll for COVID-19. It is very close to 100,000. The ONS's death toll is slightly less up to date, so it only goes at the moment up to the 15th of January, but it is more comprehensive because it includes some deaths in spring of last year that weren't necessarily, there was less testing going on there, and whereas the official numbers from the government are only based on when someone has had a positive COVID-19 test and then has died within 28 days of that. The ONS numbers are based on where COVID-19 is mentioned on the death certificate, and so covered slightly more of the deaths that we saw in the spring of last year. It is a terrible number. It is a kind of a testament, I suppose, to the scale of this pandemic. But beneath this figure are many thousands of families who have suffered losses across this country, and unfortunately those numbers are getting worse. The one thing I would just say in summation is that at least the case numbers are going down. So we may now be at the highest point for deaths, but nonetheless they are continuing to go up in terms of new deaths we're getting every day.